Hello, I am Xarkun, this is World of Warships Legends, and today I've got good news for you. My very favorite battleship in the game, HMS Nelson, Tier 6 Premium Ship, is on sale for 10,000 doubloons. By the time you see this video, there should be still about 3 days left in the sale for you to decide whether you want to purchase it, and I'm going to give you all the reasons why you might. First, though, we'll briefly go over my commander build. I am using HMS Nelson, rank 16. She offers a hybrid build between accuracy and firepower, as well as survivability. Flammable Cannoneer in the first row of skills, Big 7 in the second, that one's key. Marksman in the third, and Master Mechanic in the fourth. Cunningham and Galler as inspirations. We'll talk about how this build relates to the Nelson as we jump into some gameplay, and I'll also give you some alternative suggestions if you don't have HMS Nelson in your commander roster. Anyway, we're going to be on Trident, domination mode game, and this is going to be a pretty good, pretty representative game in the Nelson. Now, full disclosure, I've said that the Nelson is my favorite battleship in the game, so I am probably biased. But I'm going to make the case to you that this ship is essential for at least one reason, and also that it is one of, if not the strongest battleships at Tier 6 in the game. There are some people who will probably tell you that this is a weak ship. No. Sorry, but their opinion is objectively wrong, and I can prove it. Big claim, right? How can I do that? Well, this is my most played ship. It's my favorite. I know a lot about it, and I'm going to explain to you all of its benefits and all of its downsides. First up, it does have 16-inch guns. That's 403mm guns at Tier 6. They fire British armor piercing, which means they're shorter fused, making them very effective against cruisers. This Pensacola loses 32,000 hit points from our very first salvo. We scored 2 citadels, and he is lucky to not have been completely deleted there. Short-fused British armor piercing, what does that mean? It means that after the shells penetrate armor of a target, they arm and detonate much quicker. Since cruisers are smaller ships with lighter armor, they penetrate the cruiser's armor, arm, and then detonate quick enough to explode inside of the citadels. On a lot of other battleships with 16-inch guns, if you're shooting at a Pensacola, the shells will simply penetrate, go straight through the citadel, and come out the other side without detonating inside of the ship, resulting in over-penetrations. So, the Nelson is a very effective cruiser killer, one of the best in the game. If you are in a cruiser and you find yourself facing a Nelson, you want to be very, very careful, especially since it has 16-inch guns and can therefore overmatch even 27mm of bow armor, which you can find on cruisers like the Wichita or the Hipper. So, the AP is fantastic. Now, against battleships, you're not going to find yourself scoring citadels too often, although the armor piercing can do significant chunk damage. British armor piercing is very great for that. Even though it doesn't tend to score citadels on battleships, it can still hurt them a lot. Speaking of armor piercing and battleships, the Nelson does have 25 or 26mm bow and stern armor, which means it can be overmatched by 15 and 16-inch guns. What does overmatch mean? That means that it doesn't matter what angle you're showing. 15 or 16-inch shells will penetrate the armor at any angle. So, you do need to be careful when pointing your bow or your stern at any battleship armed with 380mm guns or larger, and there are a lot of those at Tier 5 Tier 6 and Tier 7. There, our stern actually gets overmatched by the Gneisenau, who does have 15-inch guns. You see that 11k hit that he got on our stern. That is one of the, I guess you would call them, downsides of this ship. But that downside can be mitigated by proper angling. The side armor on the Nelson is 32 millimeters in thickness. And that follow-up shot by the Gneisenau, you saw one of the shells hit us directly in the side, and it either shattered or bounced. You can do that with 15 or 16-inch guns in this ship. You just have to find the precise angle. If you're sailing away or toward the target, you want to give them an angle in just about the place where the third turret behind the other two on the front of the ship is almost able to be on target, or maybe even right on target. You kind of have to play around with it to find exactly the right angle, but once you do, what you want to do is bait battleships with 15 or 16-inch guns into shooting you in the sides. If they shoot you right in the bow or stern, it doesn't matter what your angle is, they will overmatch that armor. But if you can bait them into shooting you in the side, then their shells will shatter or bounce and you can tank them. So, it's just not true that the Nelson is a weak ship. In fact, it is a very tanky ship. One of the things that also makes it very tanky is the repair party consumable. It restores probably around about a third of the ship's hit points, as long as the hit points were taken away from damage caused by fires or HE shell penetration, or I think even a little bit of regular AP shell penetration. Not so much citadel damage. If you take citadels, then you're not going to make the most out of the repair party consumable. But if you're being burned down by a cruiser, maybe one of the American cruisers, they're lighting a fire on you, their HE shells are penetrating and doing damage that way, you can let that fire burn for a long time. You might not even have to use your damage control. And then once it burns down enough, you can simply reprint yourself a new ship. That alone makes the Nelson one of the tankiest battleships in the game. Very easy to farm dreadnought medals and fireproof medals in this ship. Now, we've already talked a little bit about the AP rather, and you see we have HE loaded now. The Nelson's HE has the highest alpha strike of any HE of any battleship in the game. Without Big 7 on Azur Lane Nelson, it still does an incredible amount of damage. I think nearly 6,000. And it's got a 40-something% chance to start fire. I want to say it's 46%. With 9 shells being sent through the air, as long as a good number of them land on the target you're shooting at, you're almost guaranteed to light a fire, as we did on the Leon out there. Our follow-up shot, once it hits, scores 2 fires, and he's burned his damage control, so he is going to be burning for quite a long time. The HE is also fantastic for deleting destroyers in a single salvo, and it's just very effective all around. It's not a rare occurrence if you're shooting HE at a broadside battleship or cruiser to score hits in the 10 to 13k range, as well as light fires. So both the high explosive and armor piercing shells are incredibly dangerous and incredibly effective on this ship. That doesn't mean that you don't want to switch between them, of course. You definitely do, especially for situations like this, because the Nelson has 16-inch guns, and they can overmatch the bow armor of many, many ships at tier 5, 6, and 7, including the Poltava. It doesn't matter how the Poltava angles his bow at us. If he's showing us his bow, we can punch straight through it and deal full armor-piercing penetration damage to him. We're going to do it again right now. There, we hit him pretty hard. We take away about half of his remaining hit points. It does look like he's going to go in for the ram, and he's not going to succeed if he keeps his bow pointed straight at us. We're just going to ignore it. We're going to overmatch him, and we're going to delete him. The guns are almost reloaded, and he is pretty dangerously close, but he thinks he's bow tanking us. He's not. Guns are reloaded now. We punch straight through his bow for 16k and kill him. That just leaves the Leon left as the last remaining enemy on the enemy team. Unfortunately, we mistakenly burned our damage control consumable too early. So now the fire that the Leon has lit on us is eventually going to take us down. That was a mistake on my part, and it's unfortunate that we have to end the game this way. But we are going to do some more damage to the Leon with our armor piercing here before we go down. In any case, the Nelson is a fantastic ship, objectively speaking. It has incredibly powerful HE and incredibly powerful AP. It's capable of doing anything, and I find it to be one of the most rewarding ships in the game. It's also a great learning tool as well, because the bow and stern armor can be overmatched by 15 and 16-inch guns. It forces you to really master the concept of angling, and the Nelson, more than any other ship in the game, is definitely the ship that taught me how to effectively angle, and that's a skill that you can translate to all battleships in the game, especially because there are a lot of them with 25 millimeter bow armor. I'm not sure exactly the number, but bow armor that can be overmatched by 15-inch guns or larger. And I mean, there are a lot of them. There's the Leon, the Poltava, the Colorado, the Nagato, the Sinop. There's a lot. And knowing the ins and outs of overmatch and the ways to angle your ship properly so as to bait shots into your angled side and therefore shatter battleship caliber AP, it's a skill that is invaluable on every battleship. And if you can master the Nelson, then you can master that kind of angling in any battleship in the game, or at least that is my opinion. So those are all the reasons you would want to buy it, I think, in my opinion. Very strong ship, very tanky ship, very offensively capable ship. We've scored 173,000 damage in this game with only one kill, but definitely not a bad result. Our teammates are going to finish off this Leon for us, and the game will end with our victory. So, the Nelson, if you're looking for a Tier 6 premium battleship that is strong and also incredibly fun and rewarding to play, I don't think you have to look much further than HMS Nelson. Great ship, I love it, my favorite battleship in the game. Hope you enjoyed the video and you feel slightly more informed on whether you might want to purchase this ship now that it's on sale. If you did like the video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't already done that. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments whether you plan to buy the Nelson, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.